Now we've got Ladybug.
So what are you thinking about Ladybug?
So we know that Ladybug is based off of ladybugs, who are part of the family Coccinellidae, which I always think is a really fun name. So yeah, these are all technically ladybugs. They're all in the same family, and just look how beautiful they are. They're also predators, which is not something a lot of people know. They do eat other bugs. So all beetles go through complete metamorphosis. So they have a larval stage, a pupal stage, and an adult stage. The larvae are also carnivorous. And so this is your typical ladybug larva. That's what it looks like. They look nothing like ladybugs. I want to bring this up from Bulbapedia again. So the Bulbapedia entry is Ladybug is a social Pokemon that is active in large groups. So this is true. You'll find a lot of Coccinellids, especially like when it's colder, that they'll cluster together. It also states, just like Tasha's comment, an aromatic fluid is secreted from its feet and leg joints, which it uses for communication. The fluid indicates its location and conveys emotion. It will smell sour if Ladybug is angry. In the anime, it has been shown to serve a role in pollinating the fruit-producing plants of the Pokemon world. Which, this is not a pollinator, so... Oh, Gora redeemed make me dab. Dab on the Ladybug. I don't know. Let's hear your take on stats, and then maybe that'll solidify my...
I'm gonna put it straight in D tier. Like, I have a lot of nostalgia for Ladybug. I think it does cool things. But, like, base 265, really nothing to write home about. Special defense, I mean, you could run, like, UV light on it if you wanted to in, like, a really low-powered setting and maybe do something with it. But even at that defense, you're gonna get sneezed on by an aerial ace and just die.
Sneezed on by an aerial ace and die.
It's got like Mach Punch, it's got Roost, it's got Baton Pass, Agility, so you could make this like an EV light setup first kind of thing, and then Baton Pass out to your actual Pokemon you want to use.
Ladybug overall, thematically great.
D tier.
I
have nostalgia, not good. Yep.
It's just like silly little guy. Maybe like top of D tier for me. Now we're on Ledian, which strays from the Coccinellid theme. I am not a Ledian fan. Ladybug has a lot more, I don't know, like it's just more charismatic than Ledian to me. Even though Ledian is the evolved form. But let's see what Bulbapedia says, if there's anything significant. Ledian is a coleopteran insectoid Pokemon that resembles a slightly humanoid ladybug. I hate that sentence. Ledian sleeps in leaves or wrapped in leaves or grass in temperate and tropical forests during the day. At night, it flutters around, scattering a glowing powder that is thought to bring in luck. I guess that is part of like the cultural ideas behind ladybugs, is that they bring good luck. I also want to point out that Ledian is a good example of coleopteran anatomy, as it shows the elytra underneath. So with beetles, if you've ever seen like a video of a beetle in slow motion flying, elytra are the hard wings on top, and they'll like make way for the membranous wings to unfold and come out, and it's literally the coolest thing. I mean, look at that. How did nature do that? Just think about how small it is and how it folds those wings underneath its elytra. Oh my gosh. In terms of Ledian stat-wise, competitive, what do we feel?
Ledian in actuality is utter like dog water, like not remarkable in any way, shape, or form.
I think it goes below Venonat.
Right, that's where I'm at. It's just chilling with Party Hat Beetle over in F2. All right. So this is your specific field of study, Spinarak.
Yes. So we finally reached the spiders after I don't know how many Pokemon. But Spinarak is a spider, but it has 6 legs. I don't know much about Spinarak in the anime or the game, but I do like that it's got a little smiley face on its butt, which there is a smiley face spider, and it might be based off of, I think it's a Gasteracantha spider. That's the genus. They're the spiny orb weavers.
I see it's a Hawaiian happy face spider.
Okay, so maybe it's Theridion Grell. I'm very bad at pronouncing Latin names, but I think it is based off of this spider. I thought it was a spiny orb weaver. There's also a smiley face orb weaver. But there's also this one. Yeah. But yeah, you can see how Spinnerack, and if you look at the Bulbapedia picture actually of Spinnerack, you can see how these two resemble each other. Because here in the anime, you can see Spinnerack when it's vertical, you can see the happy space a lot better. In terms of Pokemon biology, we've got Bulbapedia here. Thank you, Bulbapedia. It resembles a spider. Black eyes with white pupil, a white horn on its forehead, red mandibles, nocturnal Pokemon that lives in temperate and tropical forests. It spins webs. A patient hunter can wait for days for prey to become ensnared in its web. It senses what kind of prey has been caught by the vibrations in its web, and its preferred prey is cutie fly. I love that fact! That's so cool! Okay, so there is a lot of truth in Spinnerack's biology here. Spiders are sit-and-wait predators for the most part. So, as the name implies, they sit and they wait for prey. And it is true that webs are there to detect vibrations.
What is Spinnerack's typing?
Oh shit, it's bug poison. Okay, that's another thing. We should get this out of the way now. The difference between poisonous and venomous.
Correct.
Spiders are venomous.
Mm-hmm.
Venom is when an animal like injects the poison, right? Or the venom. I don't know in terms of like the actual substance if you can interchange them, but the method of transfer, venomous has to be bitten or injected. Yes, poison is if you touch it and it impacts you. It's not injected in any way, or like if you eat it, like it's contained within the animal, like you eat it.
Mm-hmm.
What is your take on Spinnerack?
I like that it has frowny face. I gotta give him D tier. Just because like the design isn't like super memorable. Like cool, it has sniper, which is cool. Crits hit for 5x. Stats, nothing to really write home about. Talking Spinnerack specifically, Ariados is a little bit different. Spinnerack, like cool, gets certain moves like Sucker Punch. It gets Poison Jab, Cross Poison, Sticky Web, which is kind of cool. Toxic Thread, which I forget is even a move. Hold up.
A Bulbapedia Ariados, holy cow.
I'm actually looking up. It's a long leg. It's labeled as a long leg Pokemon, so it's a long leg spider. I like that it has Insomnia. I Kindred Spirit.
I mean, there's not much I can add to Ariados that I haven't said about Spinnerack. Oh, I guess it talks about like Ariados then drinks the victim's bodily fluids at leisure. So the way spiders eat is very interesting to me, at least. So spiders, the way they eat is, so people might think also this is not the shape of Ariados. I'm just gonna say that now. Anyways, spiders will inject venom into their prey, right? They'll bite their prey to immobilize it. But they also have like a digestive liquid that they secrete onto the prey that essentially like liquefies the prey. And then they drink it kind of like their mouth part's kind of like a straw. So they only eat smoothies, basically.
I can tell you right now, Ariados is A tier for me.
Really?
Like, I have to justify. I really fucking like its design. Like, not even gonna lie. Not like competitively, it's meh. Like, sure, you can maybe trip her a bit because it's 40 speed. You could like brave it because attack 90, so minus speed plus attack. I would put it above personally, but I'm biased. I'm super biased again, like towards Ariados. I love it.
I think I'm gonna put it behind, but they're like kind of even in my head. But our next one is Yanma. This is.
I can tell you right now, competitively, it doesn't do anything. Not Yanma.
It's based on a dragonfly, clearly, and it feels like as a Pokemon, like a not Yanmar. It feels like an incomplete thought.
I was curious about Yanma. Compound Eye speed boost, so technically in like a low tier setting it can do things because just passively gain speed. I take that back. Yanma can't do things. Someone in chat could probably. It has Rayquaza speed. What the fuck? It's actually 95. That is wild to me.
Its blue eyes, they look green to me, can see all around its body at 360 degrees without even moving its head. This allows Yanma to have high evasiveness. That is true. Evasiveness is high in Yanma, I think. Yanma is a skillful flyer. It can make sudden stops, turn in midair, and hover in place by flapping its wings at high speed. Yanma's eyes ensure the prey will not escape its sight, even when behind. Well, some of this is true. Dragonflies are predators. They are carnivorous, including the larva, and dragonflies also go through metamorphosis. They're actually born in the water, and they have gills when they're younger. So this is what dragonfly larvae look like. Here's a good picture of the life cycle. Check this out. Oh my god. It is kind of like a scoop. Yeah.
I looked on Smogon and stuff. It's actually arguably pretty bad. Like, it has a lot of potential here. Like, there's a lot of move stuff that it can do, especially with like speed boost, EV light, like U-turn. Just not. Other than having Rayquaza speed tier, it's kind of subpar.
It is true though that dragonflies, I think they're the only animal that can fly in every direction. They can fly upside down, turn 360 on a dime, and fly more than 55 kilometers per hour. They can even fly backwards with as much skill as they fly forwards. Yeah, I don't know if I would even put Yanma in D tier. Like, Yanma might actually be F tier for me.
I don't know. I'm having a hard. It's like low D tier. F might be a little bit too. I gotta say, it's between D and F at this point.
I think I'm gonna put it between Venonat and Ledian. I think kind of mid-tier with Pineco. Alright, Pineco. Not a bug. I'm just gonna say that now. It's literally a pine cone. Unless you want to think of it as like a pupa, but I can't even think of like a pupa that looks like that. It's literally a pine cone.
I'm pretty sure it just is a literal pine. It is bug type though. No, it's a bagworm. It's like worm.
Oh, it's supposed to be a bagworm. For those of you who don't know what a bagworm looks like, and we'll get to this with Burmy too. Well, I guess, yeah. This is a bagworm. This is what it looks like. It's a type of moth. The pupa of this moth, what it does is it collects little pieces of like forest floor. This one looks like it uses some sort of plant material. It's usually like plant material or like wood, and that's what it coats its pupa in. There's a lot of different I guess styles for them. Like this one's using juniper, it looks like, whereas this one, I don't know if this one's that one might actually be juniper too.
In terms of Pineco, I mean, you're not doing really anything competitive. I mean, it's cool. It's a screen setter. I'm sure in a super low powered format, I think this kid might actually be able to do something, because it can learn light screen, it can learn reflect, it can learn earthquake. I mean, it's got a decent mouth pool.
I don't have much to say about Pineco if you just want to move on to talking about Fortress too, and just gotta lump them together.
So Fortress fills a very interesting niche, especially in the older metagame. I'm trying to navigate Smogon, bear with me. Where Pineco kind of did certain things, it doesn't really do anything. The advent of Steel type coming into the game, that being said, you know, in Gen 2, where it was introduced, was a huge thing. Like, if you look online, or type defenses, right? The only thing that actually even touches this thing is fire. You sneeze fire at this thing, it'll die. Its defense is 140, which is admirable, absolutely.
Fortress doesn't look like any particular like insect. It looks like it's supposed to be like a barnacle or something,
right? Which
is still technically an arthropod. Honestly, I'm not feeling Pineco. I feel bad. Maybe behind Kakuna and D tier. Please don't hate me for.
I always forget he's grass anyways. I put him in D tier.
I don't know what to do about Fortress.
I put him in B, but I'm moving him down to C.
I think I'm gonna put it. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna stick it in D tier. I'm sorry. It goes right above Pineco. I'm sorry.
Right.
Is where I start to get into more exciting territory.
No, absolutely.
I mean, it's like a lobster mixed with a praying mantis. Well, a fun fact about praying mantises is only males can fly. I mean, theoretically, females can also fly. Mantids don't get their wings until they're fully adults. I think it takes about 7 different molts, which is where they shed their skin. Yeah, so females are actually too big to fly. That's why it's hard for them to fly. They're often much too heavy to fly, so you'll never see a female praying mantis flying like really high in the air. She might try and like jump and kind of flutter her wings, but I don't think I've ever seen that. I've seen males fly for sure. I was just thinking of something with mantids too. Oh, they're closely related to cockroaches, which is I think a fun fact about mantids.
Nani the what?
So
big.
This is a peppered roach. They're from South America, I believe. This is going to be one of your larger species of roach. I believe this is in the Blabberus genus, but don't quote me on that. Terribly into the anthropomorphized Pokemon. I can appreciate Scizor for what it is, and I can appreciate its influence on the game, but I think it's low B tier for me. I don't think it's worth putting it in C tier. Like, I do think it is useful and aesthetic and interesting in design. And I think I would put Mega Scizor maybe above Mega Beedrill.
Scizor wasn't even doing anything in GSE. It has a baton pass it here on Smogon. But I guess that's, well, it's saying that it's UUBL, so underused borderline, so pretty low. Early on, it seems like it was really strong. Swords Dance, Baton Pass. Then the Hidden Powers, which is agility as well. And the Hidden Powers, which is a whole debacle in itself competitively. Scizor is still pretty good in base. However, Mega Scizor just gets there with the increased stats. But obviously in Sword and Shield, we don't have Mega Scizor anymore. RIP. So Scizor kind of sits in this weird UU territory, underused. Where it still does like boosting things, that has access to Roost. I mean, there's some cool bugs. If you're wanting to run a bug type, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find one that could fill a lot of what it does. Because you can knock stuff off, you can bullet punch, you can Swords Dance boost up, you can Roost to restore your HP, U-turn to just hit and back on out. So I'm going to tier Scizor in A, base Scizor in A. Mega Scizor down at B.
Really?
Strictly because I feel there are better Mega Slots out there.
I don't care what anyone says. Shuckle is automatically S tier. I will not be taking any questions at this time. Shuckle is S tier.
You don't fuckle with Shuckle.
That's it. That's the stream. We're done.
Solid S tier. We're done.
Shuckle is definitely not insect based. It is 100% turtle based, but that doesn't mean I don't have fun facts about turtles.
What
does it say? Is it like Shuckle, the turtle Pokemon?
The mold Pokemon. You could argue it's like a worm that has burrowed into moldy food or something.
Worms aren't insects or arthropods either. They have their own group called annelids. So turtles are kind of our model animal for what temperature sex dependence is. I don't know if it's found in many other animals. I've got a student who's testing this in chickens. But what temperature sex dependence is the impact of temperature on the sex of young turtles. Based on the temperature, if it's like hotter or colder, the entire clutch could be male or the entire clutch could be female. I think sometimes it can be a mix. This is called temperature dependent sex determination, TSD. If a turtle's eggs incubate below 27.7 degrees Celsius, which is 81.86 degrees Fahrenheit, the turtle hatchlings will be male. If the eggs incubate above 31 degrees Celsius, 88.8 degrees Fahrenheit, the hatchlings will be female.
Shuckle is untiered. It suffers from the Wobbuffet effect, where it has an AG, anything go. So there's tiers, right, in terms of how the game is played, especially on Smogon. Mega Rayquaza is the only Pokemon that is in anything goes. It is in no other format except fuck it, you can run 6 Arceus if you wanted to, because Mega Ray is that good. Shuckle has a place in this format and is noted. I think there's a whole paragraph here, and it's like, oh yeah, no, it can survive with Sturdy. It just survives Choice Specs Kyogre. There's a counter for Rayquaza, and I'm just like, the fuck. So this thing is actually like S tier if you can use it right. It's brilliant.
Should we go on to Heracross?
The next one, Heracross. And on the subject of its physical appearance, taking into note both the male and female variations, because I feel there's definitely things you have to say about that.
Right. So Heracross is based off of rhinoceros beetles. Rhinoceros beetles are generally in the genus Dynastes, the nasty. In the US, we have Dynastes Titus, which is an Eastern Hercules beetle. I think there might be a Western one, but those are the ones I worked with. There are invasive rhino beetles actually in the Marianas and specifically Guam. They are trying to get rid of the invasive rhino beetles. They're called coconut beetles. They bore into coconut trees and kill the coconut tree, which is a huge economic staple of, Pacific Islands. So it is important that we pay attention to invasive species. Okay, so Dynastes Titus Eastern, Dynastes Grantii is Western.
Mm-hmm.
And I can show I have pictures of them up here too, so people can see. I've worked with both. One is just more like lighter colored. We were told not to handle them, just to try and expand their lifespan as much as possible, because rhino beetles only live for, I think, only like 6 months. I don't think that.
Wait?
Not 6 months, 3 months. Hercules beetle lifespan. Yeah, 3 to 6 months. Yeah. Pupal stage lasts 32 days, while adults can live 3 to 6 months in captivity. But yeah, male versus female. I know you brought that up.
Because Heracross, base Heracross at the very least, has 2 forms, and it's the horn specifically. The male is obviously the more, the 2-pronged rhino, and the female it's the single prong effectively with the circle. So it's a little bit, it's less sharp.
Yeah, in rhino beetles, the female doesn't have a horn at all. It's just completely lacking a horn, because the purpose of the horn is fighting, specifically for females. So
how about Mega as far as that form? Because obviously, I guess you could argue that's the 3-month adult stage, right? And it looks like the other rhino beetles you're seeing, right? Like that's a more traditional rhino beetle.
Yes, that looks more like a traditional rhino beetle than the base Heracross.
So that also means, because Heracross also has wings, it's less apparent on the Mega version. I don't even think the Mega version showcases its wings. I'd have to look at the animation again. But does that mean that the rhinoceros beetles, do they have wings and can they fly, or do they glide at their size?
They fly. And really? There actually is a myth that rhino beetles, if they hit like a window, it would crack. And I think Mythbusters tested this based on like force and speed. And technically, I think they can break, like, if you're a motorcyclist, I think it could technically like crack the helmet.
It just takes you out.
Anyways, I digress. We should talk a little bit about Heracross and Mega Heracross as they pertain to the competitive scene.
It gets Guts, Moxie, and just the last one. Swarm, Guts, and Moxie. Swarm is the standard, increases if it's standard increases that move type, so Swarm bug type moves. If its HP falls below a third, so 33%. Because of how it's built, I feel that if Heracross was in Gen 1 RBY, and with the way special worked in that game, so special attack, special defense would have been 1 stat. I think Mega Heracross would have been way better in Gen 1, being completely honest, because it does get access to like Hyper Beam and stuff. I'm assuming it tanks ground attacks. Yes, it does. It takes half damage from ground attacks, so it's actually pretty cool in that. It gets melted by fire, flying, and even psychic because of that fighting type that's in there, which I actually kind of like that the fighting type is included in there because of the, as we mentioned, the aggressive nature of these beetles, which Guts and Moxie are, can go into the male aggression inside in this Pokemon.
I'm gonna say S tier. Fuck it, S tier. S tier.
Mega Heracross once again, be a heretic. I'm putting it Mega Heracross in B. I don't know. It's super hard. I'm gonna go with A on base, B on Mega.